field technician manager, he was pretty excited. I didn't get to meet her yet directly, but she had reached out, and I'm glad that those connections are working out. So.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Graduates from her program are doing really well. We actually tried to hire one of her graduates and unsuccessfully, but she actually is working directly with Hope Renovations now.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
we just hired somebody out of CCCC, out of their program, and she is phenomenal. She's like hitting it out of the park right off the bat. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I love hearing that. Members doing just business with just supporting each other. I mean, that's great. I love hearing that. I'm glad to hear that.
Oh, putting the word out. We're talking about renting a new office space that's out on 54. And the space that we would rent, it's this building that was an old schoolhouse, or is an old schoolhouse. And we're going to rent about 800 or 900 square feet. And then next to the big space that we would rent, there's another room that's even bigger. And it adjoins the space that we're in. And it would be so great if there was a local carpentry company that wanted to have their own shop and set up next door to us, and we could provide each other with endless work. If anybody knows of a tradesperson that needs a shop, send them our way. We'll get a discount. We'll get a group discount on the rent.
Nice.
That's a good one, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that can go out in like a membership newsletter or something, Selena? So that, yeah,
Absolutely.
That'd be great. That would be great. And in the interest of shout outs, I have a sister-in-law that needs a new job. She's currently like the activities director at Briar Chapel. She coordinates with all the builders. She's the liaison for the builders, plans all their events. And she's got twin girls, and they go full time to the Chapel Hill Y every day so that she can go into work. But she's at a point where she needs more flexibility. It's a little crazy to have 7-year-olds be a single mom and have to be at work every single day at this point in time. And her boss has not been awesome about it. And she is super sharp. She's so organized. She's fantastic with marketing. She's so she's great with a spreadsheet. She's experienced. She used to work for Duke for years doing fundraising. So
I can testify to that. I worked with her at least 2 years, if not more, and absolutely fantastic.
What's her name?
Her name's Alyssa Allegra, and I'd be happy to connect you guys. She's also on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Jeff Logston was looking for someone a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if he's found anybody yet, but he might be someone good to reach out to.
You're right. He was. Send me Jenny. Send it to me, Jenny, and I'll shoot it over to him.
Okay.
Yeah, we not to selfishly want to pull all y'all's candidates, but I do believe we have a marketing associate position opening up.
Oh, look at that.
That sounds like she could.
We're already sharing the love.
I know.
Oh my God, it just warms the little cockles of my heart.
So Holly, does the new decade feel different, or?
Happy birthday! Yeah.
Thank you.
So happy belated birthday.
Yeah, no, I'm youthing. I don't know if I told anybody this, but so I'm actually aging in but I'm Benjamin buttoning. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep getting better and better.
Oh, good. Benjamin Buttoning.
Buckle up, everybody.
Hi, David. I just saw that you joined us.
You're muted, David. There you go.
Yes, well, it's for the first time in my life, I could tell you that. Thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to eavesdrop.
Of course, love it.
This seems like it's been an active job board for the last 5 or 10 minutes, which is great. I think this is probably true for most of us, but we've got 3 job positions open right now.
Ooh.
And are just hunting. One of them is that we tried putting it up on the newsletter. So I think Selena's done that for us, but I don't know whether I've gotten direct contacts from that, but it seems like it's a good way to reach folks, is just to pop a brief notice up in the newsletter and have it go around.
Yeah, if you have anything, definitely share that with me. We can put it in the newsletter, and then we also have the job posting on our website, so anyone can go and go to our website as well.
Are they supervisor positions, Randy, or that's what I was?
A mix.
A mix?
Looking for a project manager and a carpenter and a one that probably isn't recognizable to most people, but we call it a design build staff. And this is usually a person that's design trained, but is really early in their career, and they support the project managers at our company. So,
Gotcha.
but if you know anybody.
All right, and Randy, if you get any resumes that you don't need, you can send them on to me.
It's a deal.
You got to make the ask first, not fair.
Well,
I was on an
that's how we-
NAHB call. I just got on.
We found when we had Deborah working in our office, she was a second candidate for Aaron Nelson over at the chamber. And that's what I was like, we had posted the job and I happened to mention it to him and he's like, well, do you want our second choice? And Deborah was great when we needed a receptionist. So yeah, hopefully you all can share your peoples.
I remember the world where we needed a receptionist, but yeah, I don't barely remember it now, but yeah.
Right.
What are people?
Yeah.
I need to find the one of you who needs an accountant, that's all.
Like personally? I mean,
No, I don't want to do tax returns. I
okay.
want to count things.
Count things. Okay. Zach, who else you got over there off camera? That's not.
You caught me. I got Noel over here just chit chatting back and forth. He's
Tell him.
sneaking in the meeting.
It's fun.
Hi, Lakeisha.
Hello, how is
Hey.
everyone?
Good, good. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me. Oh my gosh, everyone's here. Am I totally late?
No.
Sorry.
No.
So you are not. This is the chatty session before the show begins. So yeah.
Good.
The pre-meeting meeting.
Mhm.
The meeting before the meeting. I know about those.
We were in a Zoom call with one of our partner architects. He's a neat guy, and it was about 3:30 in the afternoon, and very, very quietly, this I don't know, 10 or 12-year-old girl walks up behind him with a cup of tea and sets it on his desk and sort of quietly walks away. And we sort of looked at him and he's like, yeah, my daughter brings me a cup of tea every afternoon. It's very sweet. And I thought, that is all right. So
We'll be,
Is this supposed to be a beverage networking time, Selena?
Mm-hmm. Invite said, bring your favorite bevs. Yep.
Unfortunately, I have tea.
That's what I'm getting ready to have, a tea.
Yes.
I went and looked in the office kitchen and we do have a bottle of rum. We have rum and seltzer or rum and root beer, and that's it.
Rum and root beer.
Enjoy it.
That could be not bad, probably.
I stuck with the seltzer.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's some lime. That's supposed to be good too, right? Rum drinks. I like it, Jenny. That's like welcome the warmer weather.
Yeah, exactly. There are birds building nests on my front porch, so that's a good sign.
Okay,
Hey, Scott.
Scott?
Hi, Amy.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm late to the meeting. Just got off another one. These Zoom meetings are so fun.
this is the funnest
This
This
one
is the
actually,
funnest and the coolest.
one.
the one before was not so much.
I have a random question for this group. Do you guys know if there's anywhere to donate like furnace system, heating system? I just had the ducted heating system taken out of my house, and it's like only it's 8 years old, and it's only heating, and they're supposed to last at least what 15 years, but honestly don't really know what to do with it. I thought about you, Nora.
Wouldn't Habitat take it?
Can they?
Yeah, the Restore might take it.
And I was going to say too, Jamie, we actually are looking for something because when we teach our HVAC unit module, it would be really helpful to have something in-house we can point to.
Oh my gosh, you can have this thing. It's on my porch.
That is so cool.
Do you have a trailer, Nora?
We do.
Okay, good, because otherwise I would offer to go swing by and pick it up for you.
You should do
you
that
can still
anyway.
do that if you want to, but
Come get it, Holly.
yeah, we can send somebody to go get it. I'll connect
Yeah, I
with
think you owe me a craft beer, Jamie, for my
I should-
birthday.
I sure do.
Let's all
Yeah,
just
excellent.
Let's all just go
after-
hang out on Jamie's front porch.
Yes, it's perfect social distance activities.
Well, the heater will keep us warm, right?
All right. It's not working. It's not hooked up to anything. It's just sitting there. Perfect, Nora. I will work on that. I will work that out.
I'll send you an email, Jamie.
Selena, before I joined, did you give a little brief update about our call this morning?
No, I have not.
So, I mean, it's very beginner stage, but Jamie will be really, 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 really happy to hear it. So first, the National Green Building Standard and the Home Innovation Research Labs has agreed to a 2-year sponsorship of our tour. So we're bringing them back. We're really, really happy. I know Randy will be super happy about that. He worked really hard to get them to agree to work with us a few years back. So in negotiating the sponsorship, Michelle Foster, who runs the Home Innovation Research Lab, or she's one of the VPs up there, she asked me if I could help get more green features or get the MLS to provide more green features. And so we had a call today with Alan Nielsen of the Triangle MLS, Brett Bushnell, who's the president of the Raleigh Realtors Association. Sorry, my timer's going off for something else. Jody Bast, and then 2 folks from DC. So we've got another meeting in 2 weeks. So we really hope to make some headway on this. So I know Jamie and Randy and those of you who do your green building, you'd be happy to hear that. So that's a great thing to share with y'all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you guys. Did you think of the being like a virtual tour, Selena? Do you think that was part of what she was attracted to, or the sponsorship?
I'm not sure. And with it being both, I hadn't talked to her. I think her and Julie connected on that. But I think offering both for those who want to do the in-person, which allows the model homes to continue with their traction, and then the virtual. I think both of them were attractive to them.
Selena, I don't know whether this works without registration, but I had another one of the folks from the Rotary Club that David and I belong to ask for a link, and I sent her the one from the invite, but will she be able to get in with that link?
Yeah, she should. Mm-hmm.
Okay, super.
Yep.
Just checking.
Yep.
Is that Kim at the Appliance Center? Who is that? Yes.
Hey, Kim. Yeah, that's Kim.
Hey, I got a soundtrack in the background, and so this is a good song, but That's why I had my mic muted. Everyone's okay?
Jamming.
You got to tell us what song it is now.
I know. It was good. It was danceable. I didn't recognize the title, but hopefully they'll play another one in a second here. And so I'll just start dancing and that'll be fun. Yeah, right.
Randy, what's your go-to band, Randy?
Me?
Yeah.
That was funny.
Oh, I don't know. I guess the band that's on my mind lately is just like I've always been a John Prine fan, and I'm just thinking about him because he passed away from COVID. So first thing that came to mind. So
Doesn't he have the Happy Enchilada song?
yeah, well, it's half an inch of water, but yes, it's the happy.
I loved him.
He's great.
But yeah, definitely across the board music taste. So
You have a high performance building council Spotify playlist option. I feel like that would be interesting.
That would be fun. Was it Holly? Who was it who did the professional women in building? Was it the National that did the?
Yeah, Angela McKay. Angela McKay she's out of somewhere in Canada, but yeah, she did a whole bunch of, you know, like songs that have the word sister or the female power ballads. But that would be fun, Jamie, to do. Anything that has energy. I've thought about having like doing anything with the word home or house for like a builder expo or, you know, the non-holiday party stuff. I think we've had back in the day when we used to gather, we had the best DJ. And he would do some funky stuff. I think Scott and Randy probably would be the only ones that had it. Oh no, Nicole, like for our realtor expo, he was so on it that like for the bath redo, he would do something like slip slide, I was taking whatever, pretend like I sang that on tune. But
I didn't quite get that. Would you sing that again for us? Yeah, okay. Right.
But he was so on it. Like we never really gave him the list of the different categories, and he would just cue up a song, and it was a ton of fun. So, you know, someday we'll be back together again and do some of that fun stuff.
I like your home / energy playlist idea though.
Let's do it. I volunteer us.
I volunteer us too. And
you have to be careful though, like if you start with like burning down the house or something, you know, they have to be sort of uplifting and positive instead. So yeah.
Hey, wasn't it splish splash? I was taking a bath.
Look at over there. She's already correcting me.
I just
I'm not good with this kind of
song
stuff.
though.
Listen, I just called the half an inch of water song the Happy Enchilada song. So just
Happy Enchilada and I like it.
Might have been confusing it with slip sliding away, and or maybe a combination of those two.
Thank you. Well, Selena, we're about 4 o'clock.
Yes, we are ready to rock and roll. You guys ready to get started? All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our annual Share the Love Joint Council meeting. I believe most of you guys know who I am, Selena Day, your Director of Membership, and I also staff liaison for both of our councils here. I'd like to introduce you to our chairs. We have Scott Jensen with MPF Foam, Scott, chair of our High Performance Building Council, and then also Julia Reiner with Martin Communications, our chair for PWB this year. Yay.
Thank you, Selena. I guess it's my turn here, huh? So today we're sharing the love, and we are grateful to have 4 inspiring individuals sharing their stories with us. Nora Spencer and Hope Gal, a graduate. I'm pronouncing this wrong, and I apologize. Molinido.
No, actually, we have someone different. Gio couldn't make it, but Amy Kleisler is our Hope Gal on the call.
Thank you, Amy, with Hope Renovations, and Lakeisha Miner with the Habitat for Humanity of Durham County, and Zach Sutherland with Haven Ventures. And last but not least, we have David Rosenthal with South Granville Rotary Club. Thank you both for joining us. Oh, I got some more here. Okay. All right. Before we start, we got a few events coming up. We have the 2021 Green Home Tour, April 25th, and May 1st through the 2nd. This year's tour is a hybrid tour. Each builder can decide whether to offer an in-person tour or a virtual tour, or even both. If you're eligible, we highly encourage you to enter this year. The entry fee is reduced from last year. The event website highlighting builder entries will be more interactive, consumer focused, and live on the entire year to market and promote your company and homes. The deadline to enter is February 12th, so please enter quickly. If you have any questions about entering, please contact Selena or Julie. The General Contractors Continuing Education class. Support your HBA by taking your courses with us and share with your GC partners. Virtual and in-person classes are being offered. You can find a complete list of dates and courses on our website under the Education tab. Also, the 2021 high school scholarship applications are being accepted now. If you have or know a graduating high school senior this year, encourage them to apply. The HBA Durham Warren Chatham Foundation will award up to 10 $1,000 scholarships this year, $1,000 scholarships, excuse me, this spring. The deadline to submit applications is March the 19th. And also the 2021 MAME Awards. Mark your calendars. The Triangle Sales and Marketing Council MAME Awards is April 22nd. Call for entries is underway with an entry deadline of February the 16th. For details or questions, please contact Selena. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we want to welcome Nora, and I'm sorry, Nora, who do you have with you again? I want to make sure I get the name right.
Her name's Amy Kleisler.
Amy. We are so excited to have Nora and Amy with Hope Renovations with us today. Nora is the founder and CEO of Hope Renovations in Carborough. She also serves on our PWB board. She spent the first 15 years of her career in human resources and recruiting at Fortune 50 companies. In 2017, with the desire to work directly in the community to create social change, Nora changed directions and graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill with a master's of social work. As a self-taught tradesman and avid handy gal, Nora came up with the idea for a training program that would empower underemployed women to make inroads in the construction trades, typically a male-dominated field, where they could earn living wages on a sustainable career path. After learning about the concept of aging in place, Nora realized there was an opportunity for these women to practice their newfound skills while giving their time to older adults in the community, and the model for Hope Renovations was born. Nora holds a BA in journalism and mass communications from UNC, a senior professional in human resources, which is an SPHR designation, and she is a certified aging in place specialist, which is CAPS. So Nora and Amy, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Julia. And I was supposed to take my general contractor exam today, everybody. Unfortunately, at 6 o'clock last night, I got an email that they canceled my exam because there was nobody there to proctor the test. So, so maybe I'll be able to add that designation sometime in the near future. Anyway, thank you for having me. I'm going to try to share my screen here because we've got some slides and some fun pictures. Let's see. Okay. Can folks see that? Give me a thumbs up, head nod. Okay, great. So the reason that Gio, I just want to go ahead and give a shout out. The reason that Gio could not join us today is that she took a job and started a job this week with Southern Energy. So Gio was one of our Hope Gals that just graduated, and she's now working for SEM, which we're really excited about. Our first Hope Gal grad hired at SEM. So our mission, for those of you who aren't familiar with us, is to inspire hope in women and older adults for a joyful and fulfilling future. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what our programs are and how we do that. But essentially, we have two programs that we run side by side. One is our Women's Trades Training Program, and one is our Aging in Place Construction Program. And our trades training program, I'll give you some more details in that, but essentially, it's a building construction technology curriculum. We teach women sort of the basics and all the different trades, preparing them for entry-level work. And on a construction side, we do small to mid-size repairs, renovations, remodels, primarily for older adults and adults with disabilities in our community. And the way those two come together is that while our trainees are in our program, they actually have the opportunity to go out on the job site with our construction crew, which, by the way, is an all-female crew. And they get to get their hands dirty and get hands-on experience on the job while they're serving older adults out in the community. So we are, believe it or not, we are the only standalone women's trades training program in this state. There are other programs and other classes that are typically part of community colleges, but we are the only standalone program just for women in the entire state of North Carolina, which is a little bit hard to believe. We're also the only trades training program with a focus on older adults and aging in place in the entire country. So it's kind of an innovative model. It took us a while to get started. We were supposed to launch last spring. In fact, when I was first supposed to do this presentation last February, we were just getting ready to launch, and then we all know what happened after that. But we finally were able to launch our programs in the summer of last year. Like I mentioned, we basically work with three different stakeholders: women, older adults, and then of course trades employers. We work really closely with a lot of employers, a lot of our friends from the HBA, to try to get our Hope Gals, we call them, placed after they graduate from our program. So we like to call it a win-win-win because we are working with three different populations. A little bit about our program. Our curriculum was developed by the Home Builders Institute, which is the learning and education arm of the NAHB. They do receive a pre-apprenticeship certificate as part of our program. We teach safety, we teach math, tools and materials, and we teach hands-on skills in most of the trades. Some of you know Sandy Dewey. She's our instruction manager for our hard skills, and she does an awesome job with the program. We also, graduates get their OSHA 10 certification when they're in our program, and they also get their first aid CPR certification as well. In addition to the hard skills that we teach, we do a lot of other stuff too. When we were researching training programs, just in general, but specifically training programs that focus on underemployed women, it became really clear that the most successful training programs are those that offer supports outside of just hard skills training. So a lot of what we do is kind of life skills, professional skills. We do a lot of career development. You can see some of the modules listed there that we spend time on. We have a lot of guest speakers from the industry. A lot of particularly women from the industry come and talk about, day in the life, what women can expect in our industry, the good and the bad. We have someone come and talk about harassment, workplace harassment, and employee rights. So we do a lot outside of just the hard skills during our program. Trainees also receive a stipend while they're in our program. It's a small stipend, but it does help a little bit because it is a 9 to 3 program. So it is, a pretty big deal for somebody who is not able probably to work full time while they're in our program. And we also we have our program manager is a social worker. I'm a social worker. We've got actually like 4 social workers on our team. So we do a lot of case management. We do a lot of connecting people to resources, childcare, transportation, that kind of thing, because the whole purpose is to help women get these issues taken care of so that when they get done with our program, they'll be able to be the best employee they can be when they go out into the workforce. When they graduate, the whole point of our program is to get them out into the trades. So we do that either by helping them find jobs in the field, entry-level positions. We help them find apprenticeships, or we help them continue their education. So we've had a number of our Hope Gals graduate and go into further education in carpentry, welding, plumbing, all different parts of the trades at local community colleges. I just wanted to share some of the pictures of our Hope Gals from our program. So you see there, that's our first cohort that started last July and they finished up in September. They built a wall and they're raising the wall. That shop is our Hope Shop, we call it. It's in Fitz Lumber's warehouse number 4 in Carborough. And we love our Hope Shop. That's cohort 1 on the left and cohort 2 on the right. The lumberyard makes for a really good backdrop for photos. So if you follow us on social media, you've probably noticed that you see a lot of lumber in our pictures. You can see some examples of some of the stuff that they get exposed to. We do a lot of training in the workshop for the first about 6 weeks, and then we start having a lot of opportunities outside the workshop for hands-on. We do volunteer with Habitat. I think this next slide, has some Habitat pictures. So we spend a couple days on a Habitat build with our gals, so they can get some hands-on field experience. And like I mentioned, they also work with our crews. It's been a little bit limited because of COVID. We can only obviously have them working with us on exterior projects, but we do as much as we can. This person in this photo on the left in the black, and then helping Kat, our construction supervisor, with tile over there on the right, is Amy. And I'm going to let Amy introduce herself, but I will start by saying that Amy graduated from our program in December, and she is now working for Jenny Hoffman, who we all know and love. So Amy, would you take a few minutes and just talk a little bit? I'm gonna shut my screen share off so people can see your face.
Sure. Thank you, Nora. Oh God, I hate all these pictures.
They're great.
Thank you for having me. As Nora said, my name is Amy Kleisler, and I graduated in December, and I now work for Jenny. I'm 54. I've had a varied career path. I began out of college as a translator. I've done sales. I've been in education. But then in 2018, through a mutual friend, I hooked up with Jenny Hoffman as she was growing her business. And when we were trying to figure out a job title for me, I just came up with Office Octopus, because my goal was to take off her plate anything that we, so that we could focus her brain on what her talents and her skills were. And one thing that would happen to me is I would come up against stuff out of the office where they were skills that I couldn't pick up on my own, or I couldn't sort of cobble together from past experience. Like one time there was a railing that had been installed improperly, and it just needed to be pulled out and put in properly. And that entailed getting a hold of a subcontractor and getting them back in. And just, if I had had some carpentry skills, or at least some knowledge to be able to speak coherently with a subcontractor, it would have been a lot easier. And so I just felt as though I was hitting a wall. For family reasons, I left Jenny's employment about a year ago. And then she forwarded me the Hope Renovations application, and it was fantastic. Nora mentioned Sandy DeWeese. When I had my job interview in December to go back to Jenny, the I think Gary's on here. His interview question to me was, you know, every interview has a question, right? Where they want to test your knowledge, test your poise, test your resourcefulness. And his question was, okay, what's the difference between nominal and actual measurement? And I thought, oh, Sandy Louise would be so happy that she taught us this. And then the second week of work, Tim turned to me and he said, have you ever used an oscillating tool? Uh-huh. Have you ever used a circular saw? Uh-huh. Do you know what toenailing is? I'm like, uh-huh. And those were all things that I didn't know when I worked for Jenny before, but I do now because of Nora and Hope Renovations. And so Tim said, great, we've got a carpentry project. So I love working for this business as an expediter because, you know, as their workload grows and my understanding of their workload grows, I'm figuring out ways that I can alleviate that workload, which I couldn't do before Hope Renovations training. And even though it's not an apprenticeship position that I'm in, Tim and Gary are incredibly generous mentors and teachers. Sometimes they're giving me knowledge that I need to be able to complete a task for them. And sometimes they're just teaching me because they want to deepen and broaden my understanding. So I'm really grateful. I mean, I can never repay what Jenny, the faith that she's had in me, and Nora and everybody at Hope Renovations. They've changed my life. I mean, that's not a throwaway line. It really is true. And so thank all of you for your support and your interest in the program, and anything you can do to help Hope gals. They're amazing people, and it just will build our community. Thank you.
So as you can see, I didn't actually need to be here today. And I should also be hiring Amy as our new marketing person. But Amy, thank you so much for sharing all that. I just have a couple more slides that I want to share just because I know that part of what we're talking about today is how folks can get involved. And I want to talk about that just really quickly. Our construction program, just, you know, for those of you who aren't aware of our construction program, we've been working since last July. That's Kat on the left and Kate on the right that you see there. They run our program and they're fantastic. We do serve all seniors regardless of income. So we work on a sliding scale where, you know, most low income seniors don't pay anything for the work that we do. We also work really closely with Habitat, Rebuilding Together, some of the other organizations that do this work. They actually sub some of it out to us. Just some pictures from some of the work that we've done out in the community. I love that one of Kat and her lead safe gear. So since we launched, so far, this is just since July, we've served 28 households with repairs, renovations. 13 women have graduated from our program. We've got 6 in our cohort that just started last week. And every single one of those women has either gone into a job, into an apprenticeship, or into further education in the field. So we've actually started having to turn women away. We have more applicants than we have spots in our program. And for those of you who may have seen the piece that was done on us on Christmas Eve on CBS this morning, that was the response from that was unbelievable. We had women reaching out to us from all over the country saying, when are you going to bring Hope Renovations to Kansas and Alaska and Rhode Island? And of course, I wish we could go all those places, but one day. So how you can get involved. I've talked to some folks about maybe volunteering some of their crew for us. You know, we do these construction jobs out in the community, and a lot of times, you know, if we had the extra hands, we could get done with them a lot quicker and move on to the next job. So if you have crew that would like to volunteer some time with us, we'd love to have them. You can send us your referrals. There's one right there that Leon from BuildSense actually referred over to us. We did a shower for her. We appreciate any referrals that you can't get to that are in our scope. Like I mentioned, we work with all folks regardless of their income. So send them our way. Post your jobs. We actually just launched a job board, and I'm happy to send anybody information, and you can actually post your jobs on our job board. It's available publicly. We send all of our graduates the information, but it is open to anybody. So you're welcome to post your jobs with us and become a partner. You know, we're a nonprofit and we're a startup nonprofit, and we don't call our sponsorships, we call them partnerships, because it really is more than just you giving your money to a cause that you believe in. You know, we rely on our partners for like helping us with mock interviews, for volunteer stuff, connecting our graduates to jobs, advice all the time. And we've got, I mean, it's kind of a who's who of the HBA. You know, Fitch is one of our founding partners. We wouldn't be here without them. Build Sense, Jenny Hoffman, Haven, PWB, SEM, Wilkinson, there's a bunch of them. So join the club. We would love to have you as a partner, and we'd love for you to be a part of what we're doing. And that's it. So feel free to reach out to me with any questions. Nora at Hope Renovations, happy to talk.
Awesome. Nora, thank you so much. You are amazing, and we love what Hope Renovations does, what it stands for. So just the super, super cool organization. Please welcome our next guest, Lakeisha Miner. She is with Habitat for Humanity in Durham County. Lakeisha is the Director of Family Services and oversees the homeownership program. As a business major and certified housing counselor, Lakeisha works with Habitat partner families step by step through the homeownership application process. She is passionate about setting their families up for success through hands-on learning and education. So Lakeisha.
Hi, good evening. How are you guys? Thank you for the invitation. I have absolutely no PowerPoint, no music. I can sing a little bit though, but only in the shower. So, but I do want to, you know, just really share, you know, a few stories with you just through my experience with Habitat. I think all of you may be familiar with Habitat, but for those of you that are not, we are a nonprofit housing ministry that builds and sells affordable houses in Durham. And there are Habitat affiliates all over the world. It's not just a Durham affiliate, it's there are affiliates on every continent. So the need for safe and decent and affordable housing, you know, it's a worldwide issue. Most of you know our slogan, Habitat builds homes, hope, and community. But what exactly does that mean, right? With the homes, hope, and community. Some of you may be able to attest to our well-built, energy efficient, and affordable houses, right? We have an amazing construction team that makes sure that, you know, we tackle those on an annual basis. You may even be able to attest to the transformation of the communities that we've built in our 35 plus years in Durham. Oh my gosh, since 1985, we've been in Durham County, and we've built over 400 homes. So we've changed quite a few communities in the area. But those are the easy ones, right? Because you can see those, you can see the houses, you can go up to them and touch them. You can ride down the street, you know, in these communities and see the transformation of those communities. But that one thing, you know, that you can't see is the hope. And that hope always starts within our office, right? But as the director of family services, you know, I get the opportunity and the privilege, I call it, to really work with our families, not just in preparing them for home ownership, but also cultivating that relationship with them. And I get to hear their stories of, you know, struggle and tragedy and loss. You know, I also get to hear about their dreams and their hopes, not just for themselves, you know, for the applicants that are coming through, but also for their families. And when I think of those stories of hopes and dreams that have been manifested because of shelter, you know, I'm reminded of one mother who came to us. She'd fallen on hard times. You know, this was a single mother. She found herself in her younger years, just bad decision after bad decision. And she was on the streets, addicted to drugs and alcohol. And as she was coming out of that, she sought refuge at the Durham Rescue Mission. And, you know, I'm very proud of our relationship that we do have with the Durham Rescue Mission, because our missions align in a sense. But with this particular lady, you know, she sought the refuge at the Durham Rescue Mission. enrolled in their Victory program and completed the Victory program. So as she graduated, the Victory program and headed out, she's ready for her independence. She couldn't find any place to live, bad decisions, bad financial decisions, criminal record, she couldn't pass any of the checks, the credit checks, the background checks for a landlord to be able to rent to her. And so she ended up living at the Mission for 5 years. But what the piece that really just constantly pulls at my string when I remember her is whenever she went to the Mission, she was pregnant. So she had her son while living at the rescue mission, and they were there for 5 years. Can you imagine that? The only home that he'd ever known was the one room, which, a transformed hotel room, but that was his home for 5 years. So when she applied to our program and she was accepted into the program, I was able to connect with her the day that we walked through the house, because this kid was running around and he was so excited. Okay. It's like he's moving from one room, which was probably 200 or 300 square feet, to being able to choose which room he wanted. And my connection with her, just to see the joy and the triumph that she had to be able to provide that for her son. He'd lived in the rescue mission for half of his life. So that was huge. But hers is just one of many. I am often reminded of a single father who moved to North Carolina from New York. New York is a little different than, the southern town of Durham. So, just coming from a big city and wanting more for himself. He was looking for opportunity and safety. But shortly after he moved to North Carolina, he received a call. His 3 children they're in foster care. Their mother had fallen on difficult times herself, and so social services ended up taking his children. He was still trying to secure a place for himself to live here in North Carolina. And the challenge that he had was to be able to find some place to live so that he could get his girls. Because of course, with social services involved, they want to know, if we turn these children over to you, can you take care of them? And so, that was a challenge for him, but he was able to find a 1-bedroom apartment, and that's where the 4 of them lived for the 2 years that he was working his way through the Habitat program. Fast forward 10 years later, his oldest daughter, she's graduating high school in May, and hopefully she'll go on to college. But this has been a huge milestone for him. Not just for himself, but he's had that stability for his girls. And I imagine that that's difficult to do whenever you're 22 and you're a single father of 3 girls, 3. But yeah, he is definitely one of the successes that I'm often reminded of when I think about hope and, despair that sometimes comes along with and can overshadow that hope whenever you've just been through so many challenges. Another one that I'm often reminded of and that I can never forget is the story of a young woman who freely speaks about her struggles, and it hasn't always been easy, but she talks about her mom. By the time her mom was 17, her mom was graduating high school with 3 children. Can you imagine? I only had 1, and I'm trying to figure out, oh my goodness, 3 by 17. But, she was the oldest of the 4 children that her mother did have. And she talks about how, as you know, because her mom was so young and struggled, you know, she became the second mom to her siblings. And that was at an early age, like 7. You know, she was responsible for bathing and dressing, preparing the meals, you know. But it was a natural part of what she thought 7-year-olds did. But by the time she was 11 years old, she and her family had lived in more than 10 different places. Imagine that, 10. So calculating, they would have moved every year for the first part of her life, right? But there wasn't many options. You know, her mom was a single mother with 4 children. So she was working 3 jobs. And gosh, back then, minimum wage, I think, was like $3.25. And $3.25, you know, do the calculations there, and 4 children. So that meant her housing options were limited. She talks about, you know, that in one place they stayed, you know, it was infested. They had to use an outhouse because there was no indoor plumbing. Having to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to boil water so that everyone could get ready for school and wash up, but also sleeping in the same room that was heated with a kerosene heater. But those were difficult times, you know, and oftentimes they had to be separated because a family of 5, you know, the relatives, there was no one that could take 5 people at one time. So oftentimes, you know, 2 would go here, you know, the other 2 would go there, and mom would be somewhere else. But those were the most difficult times, just being separated from her family and everything that she's known. So now you don't have a place to live, but now you're also being separated from your comfort, you know, from the only thing that really keeps you sane. I think at some point she talks about realizing that she was homeless, right? With all the moving, constantly changing schools, and just that lack of stability. And she became angry and embarrassed. But as she grew older, you know, she determined that if she was ever to become a mother, she would never make those mistakes her mom did. I'm always amazed how whenever we were younger, we look at our parents and we don't understand the decisions that they make. And it's like, what were you thinking? But growing up, and thank God for wisdom and a few bumps along the way, you know, we learn to appreciate some of the challenges that we were able to witness. I know I do. But you know, getting back to the story, this young lady, you know, like her mom, you know, she was hell-bent on not repeating her mom's decisions in her mom's life, but she ended up on that path. She graduated high school, pregnant with her daughter. She found a job earning minimum wage, but her dream was to find a stable place to live. That was it. I just want stability. And the best she could find, you know, it with $8 an hour, rent $800, $900, you don't have very many options. But she was able to find some place. But shortly after she moved into that place, that's whenever she heard about Habitat. Now, buying her own home, it was never a goal. The only goal that she had was to find stability, you know, just to be someplace where she didn't have to move every year, where her daughter didn't have to move every year and change schools. And not only a place for herself and her daughter, but for her entire family. And one of the things that always bring me joy when I tell this story is because it's my story. So I was that young lady. I was that girl that's just, I'm not gonna be like my mama. I'm gonna do this, and I'm just gonna do it differently. And I'm always just appreciative of how the universe works, because you will travel a path that you try to avoid. You have a plan to go this way, and GPS brings you back that way. But yeah, it's my story. I graduated high school. I was pregnant with my daughter, but I was 20 years old when I applied for the Habitat program. And I will never forget the day that I was approved into the program. Okay. I remember I had on a pair of jeans, some knee-high boots, and a red sweater. It was that vivid. And it's been 20, oh my God, quite a few years. Okay. But I remember the day I was screaming and crying and just jumping up and down on the porch. And I remember just thanking God, because I was going to be a homeowner. We would never have to move ever, ever again. And a year later, I became one. I bought my home when I was 21. And I think Habitat for that, Habitat changed so much for me. Just the opportunities and the security that my home provided. My home, mine, my home. Still get excited telling that. But it does give you a different level of confidence, and my confidence just really grew. And it grew beyond just dreaming about having a home, having a permanent place to live. And so in 2013, a month before my daughter graduated high school, I became the first college graduate ever in my family. No one had ever graduated college. Only 2 other people before me actually brought a home. So this has just been like the Habitat helped pave the trajectory of my life. It really, really did. And I don't take that for granted. Since then, I've been able to complete my bachelor's degree, not at UNC, but at Wesleyan. It's still a UNC school. At Wesleyan, and graduate with honors, right? So I really have been blessed beyond measure. My daughter has. She's known what it is to have a permanent home, to be able to make friends and invite them over, right? Have sleepovers. She's had indoor plumbing and hot water. And, she's a recent college graduate. She graduated last year. Was that last year? Yes, May last year from NCCU. So, I like to say we are doing big things, but Habitat is just a huge part of that. And I thank Habitat for being a part of our dreams, because Habitat provided hope. That's that hope piece that many people don't get to see, that many people don't get to hear about. It's not just stability and a home that's affordable, so you're not constantly battling increases in rent, but the hope that changes lives, literally changes lives, because I know it did that for me. And when people give of their time and their talents and their treasure to Habitat, it's not just an investment in the beautiful homes, but it's hope that families like mine, we build our futures on that. And for many families, that's all they really have is the hope. And I know we all need hope. But I've enjoyed my time at Habitat. I'm very passionate about helping our families with the financial literacy and just really kind of guiding them through the process, because I've been there. A lot of them are pretty shocked whenever I tell them I've been on the other side of that desk. So I know what you're feeling. I know the anxiety, the nervousness, the fear. I felt all of those things. But guess what? On the other end, in a year, guess what? You're going to have keys and you're going to be able to walk into your home. And that is a great feeling. It really, really is. If you guys are not connected with Habitat in any way, even attending a dedication and hearing, some of these stories for yourself, a lot of our families are really willing to share because they want to encourage everyone, inspire people who think that there is no hope. but because of our community partners, because of people that stay connected to the organization and to the mission, there is hope. There's always hope. But thank you guys. I'm sorry I didn't have the presentation for you, but
Okay.
thank you.
Oh,
I know.
first of
PowerPoint
all,
not necessary.
no, that was incredible. Selena, we're gonna have to talk because I'm not talking after something like that ever again. That was just trying not to like cry because that was heartfelt and wonderful. Lakeisha, thank you.
Thank
Just
you guys.
thank you so much. I think most, if not all of us have had some level of personal or professional involvement with Habitat, but you do this on a daily basis. And I can only imagine the challenges, but also the incredible rewards that you experience. You are an asset
Absolutely.
to our community and we appreciate all that you do. So
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
all right. Well, Zach, I know that you're gonna rock this and got a lot to follow, but we are so excited to have Zach Sutherland. He is a fellow HBA member with Haven Ventures. He is the executive director and CEO of Haven Ventures, a certified B Corp that exists to foster individual welfare and community resilience through the built environment. Zach is a real estate developer, a licensed architect, and a licensed building contractor. He is passionate about working alongside communities to create exceptional places to live, work, and play where each individual can flourish.
Great. Well, thanks, Selena, for putting me after Hope, Renovation, and Habitat. So big shows to follow. So I'll do the best that I can. Also, I tend to be verbose, so I'm going to actually set a timer on my phone here that'll go off in 10 minutes. I really appreciate the opportunity to present the work that we do. I know that we have relationships with a lot of people sitting in this room right now. And so many of you have heard this before, so forgive me for that. I'm gonna spend some time just talking about what we do. And my intent is to show a couple examples of what that looks like in our community impact. And so I'm not going to get through everything I've shown in the slides, but certainly we'll try to at least give an idea of the impact. And again, it's probably not going to be as inspiring as what Lakeisha just presented on, but I'll do what I can. So as mentioned, Haven Ventures, we're based in Durham, North Carolina. We've been around for about 4.5 years. We were founded in 2016. I'm one of the co-founders, licensed architect and building contractor, as well as nowadays a real estate developer. I'm going to present a few slides that are going to be boring and just full of words, and then I'll dive into some better slides with some photos. So just as a baseline, we're a certified B Corp, one of a few certified B Corp design build companies in the country, and the first in North Carolina, and really have a strong relationship with other B Corps in the Triangle, such as Southern Energy Management. Glad to see Jamie Hagar on this meeting. We are for-profit, and we would consider ourselves a social enterprise. And that B Corp certification hopefully can happy to sit down with anybody and talk about what that process looks like, just like Southern Energy Management would be. It's a pretty robust process, but it's really trial by fire and really beneficial in just going through the process of really putting your effort where your words are and proving with a third-party verification the impact that we seek to have. And so Haven Ventures achieves our mission through services, or what I'll call solutions, with our Haven Suite companies, Haven Developers, Design, Build, and Modular. We also have some other side things that we work on, but those are our primary mechanisms. And our focus is predominantly on residential, although we certainly do other projects as well. As mentioned, we're members of the HBA, as well as a number of other associations, such as the American Institute of Architects. Our mission, as stated, is to foster individual welfare and community resilience through the built environment. And that's really not just empty words. We're really earnest about that mission. And I'll talk about that and then hopefully show some examples that display that. So the way we implement that mission is through what we call impact areas. Those impact areas are outlined here. I'm not going to necessarily spend a ton of time on each thing, except to say that we focus on the individual as well as the community impact. So things like housing options, healthcare, healthy buildings and environments, which is of course part of the purpose of this group with the High Performance Building Council. We care a lot about building performance and rely a lot on our community partners to achieve higher performance, such as sun energy management, as well as relationships with people like Randy at BuildSense. We also really look beyond the built environment into the individual or the group of individuals around education, employment, social flourishing, as well as financial flourishing and shared economic prosperity. There's a ton of nuances there that I won't get into. I'm going to focus my conversation today around the actual built environment, but we really do care about those specific personal elements as well. So those are impact areas. The way we achieve positive impact in those areas is through our impact strategies. This is just, I just grabbed some from our list of impact strategies. It seems like it's a pretty long list, but I tried to focus on the ones that are most relevant to this conversation. So some of these strategies are, and you'll see some of this played out in the things that I present on, a variety of housing solutions, trying to utilize supportive services with our tenants, healthy building materials that's inside and outside, decreasing energy consumption, increasing production, decreasing waste is a large effort for us in trying to utilize local resources, as well as trying to implement a circular economy, which is obviously a huge lift and challenge. Creating restorative ecosystems. So while we generally focus on the built environment, I'm obviously an architect and a builder, that's really my expertise. We always are trying to incorporate some of the natural environment because obviously those things are very entwined. Some of the pieces around the personal aspects, low barrier employment. So we really try to lean into and create strategies around a low barrier employment environment as well as providing really high quality and exceptional education opportunities. This is including partnerships like with Hope Renovations or with NC Works or World Relief Durham. I'm not gonna, again, talk too much about that, but that is something we really care about. And then third-party verification reporting on every project we put through, which is working with Jamie basically at Southern Energy Management, as well as others, but really leaning into relationships like that to where we can say, hey, we're accountable to the goals that we're trying to achieve, and we're measuring those things and actually reporting on them. So if we're not achieving these things that we say we're trying to achieve, then we're getting that feedback and we can improve. So what I understood to be the intent of this presentation is to focus on our community efforts and our projects. So I just created a short list of ways in which we engage the community on our projects, really focusing on our holistic projects where we're providing a number of services. I'm not even going to read this because I only have 3.5 minutes left. So I'm just going to jump right into projects. One of the really key things that we rely on as a for-profit entity is public-private partnerships. And, I'm sure Habitat for Humanity knows all about this. I know that Hope Renovations relies on those sorts of relationships. We, as you can imagine, rely on these relationships as far as, access to sites go, or access to different kinds of projects. This is a project in Raleigh, and I know that this is not that Raleigh HPBC, so I'm gonna skip that one. Here's a project that's also a public-private partnership that we did in 2018 in East Durham. This is working with Housing for New Hope, who was the developer and nonprofit. Really just showing this as an example of some of the, as a really shining example of what can be achieved when there's a lot of partners who come together to create something that's really high quality. And so this is supportive housing, 7 rooms for women that are experiencing homelessness. We were providing design and construction service. We did provide design and construction services. This won a Golden Leaf Award. Housing for New Hope did an excellent job funding this project, as well as really creating the platform and the structure for success. We were able to come alongside them as their, what I'll call their private industry expert to really achieve some of these funding sources. This is, of course, this is on Holloway Street in East Durham, which is kind of a hub for a lot of some of the challenges that you might see in East Durham, as far as homelessness, as well as some criminal activity, underground drug market or prostitution. So a lot of challenges facing this site. We're able to take this and use it as kind of a beacon for this kind of development that really serves not gentrification, but serves a reinvestment that actually helps the community. And ideally, our goal is then working on and moving towards further and greater and larger and more projects that will allow the reinvestment to happen, which needs to happen in communities that are hurting, but without the displacement that gentrification tends to bring, right? That's really one of the things that we focus on. Supportive housing, which means creating housing that has services tied to it that really promote the long-term success of the tenant. So each of these tenants has case management services that will give them a streamlined access to healthcare, mental health care, employment training, various different services that they might need, not required, but available to them, which is something we really care about. And we try to see on every project. I have 12 seconds left, so I'm just going to talk about one other project in Durham that is really, really important to us and really, I think, going to be exceptional. This is on 312 Umstead in East Durham. This is the historic YWCA building that was bought by Reinvestment Partners at a tax auction. And so this was available basically to anybody to purchase and do, you know, who knows what with, and was able to be salvaged by the nonprofit community that's very strong in Durham, which we really, really believe in and partner with the groups like Habitat for Humanity, Reinvestment Partners, Housing for New Hope, who are nonprofit partners that we know are doing really good work. Purchased this building and is investing into it with private funds, also with funds from the city of Durham and with federal funds to be able to achieve 17 units of really high quality supportive housing for people experiencing homelessness. And this specific area, if you're familiar with Durham, is also probably even more so a hub for the illicit drug market than, and also the gang member activity. I won't get into that, but it's very much the hub for those things. So, but it's also in a weird way in the middle, it's in the Hayti community, it's in the middle of experiencing gentrification, and so also displacement. And what we're trying to achieve is a solution that says, hey, we're reinvesting in this community to make it stronger without the displacement that you see when reinvestment happens. And the way we do that is an impact enterprise, like a B Corp, like Haven Ventures, with a nonprofit developer who, you know, clearly cares, is able to provide the expertise around supportive services, around the funding sources, with the city of Durham, with the federal government through HUD, or with the state government through the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. So these really dynamic partnerships achieving really high quality while maintaining, this is a historic building, YWCA, where some of the civil rights era sit-ins were planned, especially the one that was really noteworthy in Greensboro, but a variety of really strong historical elements happening here, and being able to not just save it from just being leveled, right, and salvaging the character of it and the history of it, while also providing high quality housing solutions. So I, again, have a lot of other things I could present on, which I won't, but I think just trying to show two examples of projects in our community that we all experience, where we are able to work together and see these through lines, where the important work that something like Hope Renovations is doing, or the important work that Habitat for Humanity is doing, is being seen with some of the local architecture firms like what BuildSense is doing and some of the builders, like what Jenny Hoffman is doing, all coming together to create a community, right? And this is the kind of stuff that we really love and really lean into, which is why we're really glad to come here in the High Building Performance Council and see the work not only be great work for the community, but also great work that's exemplary in the industry. And we're seeing the performance being way above and beyond what is maybe typical. So that's all I'll say. I'll try to save maybe a little bit more for the Q&A if there's time for that. With that, I'll close this out and stop sharing, but happy to talk more about any of that or more projects.
Thank you, Zach. Well, first of all, thank you for not making me cry. But what I do love about all of these groups is that it's not just about housing. You know, these are not Band-Aid fixes, but they're solutions for the whole individual and the whole family. We're taking the idea of providing shelter to that next level, and then rather we're really providing resources, hope, and the ability to sustain and grow. So thank you for all of the work that you're doing in our community. To round out Share the Love, please welcome our final guest, David Rosenthal with South Granville Rotary Club. David is a currently involuntarily retired accountant and business lawyer, actively looking for a new job in an interesting job market. Well, David, we have a very interesting job market. A native of Chicago with a Bachelor of Business Administration from Loyola University and a Juris Doctor degree from Northwestern University, he moved to Durham with his family in 1990. His 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren are scattered around the world. He joined Rotary in 1991 and has been a member of the Rotary Club of South Granville County for 5 years. Currently, maybe permanently serving as treasurer of this tiny club. He met a Durham native, Lori Barbier, not sure how to pronounce that, in 2001, and they've been married for 16 years. Besides Lori and his extensive family, his loves include opera, the DPAC, contra dancing, English, Premier League soccer, and Duke basketball. Welcome, David.
Thank you. And I appreciate it. Although all I want to do is keep listening to Zach. So maybe I should just be quiet. I'm going to talk about sort of what happens when you all get all these programs together. You get all these people living there, and all of a sudden they can't eat. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Rotary, a little bit about Meals on Wheels, and how we got together. For those of you who don't know anything about Rotary, it is an international service organization. Its motto is service above self. They have about 1.2 million members in 185 countries. It's more than 100 years old now, started in Chicago, about 5 miles from where I was born. And I knew nothing about Rotary until I moved to North Carolina. So much for local knowledge. The Rotary clubs here in the area are part of District 7710, which has 45 clubs, about 2,000 members. And clubs run anywhere, while they're generally around 40 or so, clubs run from as large as 300 in someplace like Raleigh. To our club, which is probably the smallest club in the district, has 10 members, 8 of whom are active. So that's, oh, I need to share my screen. Forgot about this. Is that working? Yeah, maybe.
Not yet. Not yet.
There we go.
You go. You got it.
Okay. So, and I want to give a shout out to somebody else who's on this call, Angela Allen, who is the tourism director for Granville County and one of the newest members of our club. And since she's one of the newest, we made her president. And she is the one who actually created the visuals. So I get to talk, but she made this beautiful picture. So this is talking about a specific program. We call it Stepping Up to Step Out. If I can figure out how to get to the next page, it's got to be over here. Sorry about my technical limitations. There we go. So Meals on Wheels is also something you need to know a little bit about. It started in 1954. It's a national program. They deal with, what they try to do is provide meals for people who can't get out of their home. So that's the basis for Meals on Wheels. Programs are a little bit different all over the country. Granville County is actually operates through the Senior Center in Granville County. And so there's both a north and a south office, and actually another smaller office as well. We deal with the South Granville portion, but Meals on Wheels in our area does between 30 and 35 meals a day. Durham is the other end of the world. Durham Meals on Wheels delivers 580 meals every day with 56 volunteers running different routes. So it is, it's an interesting program. So COVID started and we got contacted by Cheryl Carrier, who's the director of South Granville Senior Center. And she had a problem. And that is that most of her drivers all of a sudden weren't able to drive. And so we had people, and she actually had more people who needed food. And she said, so can your club help? And one would wonder, why did she reach out to us? Well, this is why. Our Rotary Club has been involved with the Senior Center for many years. We do senior fall games days. That's some of our members dancing. I'll use that expression carefully. We do Christmas, which is always a fun thing. We provide bags of presents. We bring in Santa Claus. This year it was a little different, I must say, although we did manage to have as you can see, Mr. and Mrs. Claus came down from the pole and helped us out. And we had a drive-through Christmas for those people in the Senior Center who could drive, and our members delivered presents to everybody else in the senior program. So we delivered about 70 packages on Christmas Day. And one of our favorites is senior prom. So we're back to dancing. I know this group is big on dancing. I heard you all singing. And so we do a senior prom every year, except last year. We have already scheduled the senior prom for September this year. So we had a long relationship with the Senior Center. And so we agreed to pick up half of the routes. So out of the 10, there are two routes in South Granville County, each about 15 to 20 people. Our members deliver half of those routes, all those 10 routes during the week. But as we did it, we realized that we had another thing sort of in our face, and that was, what do these people do on the weekends? Meals on Wheels does not deliver on the weekends. They're a Monday through Friday process. And so we got together and we wrote a grant through our local Rotary district, connected up with the Senior Center, and we decided to start delivering meals on Saturdays as well. So we took on Saturdays, and then we said, you know, it's July 4th and nobody's gonna have anything to eat. And so we did 4th of July, and then we decided to do all of the holidays, and we were gonna do it through September. And then COVID did not magically leave. And so we said, well, we'll just keep doing it. And so during the Christmas holiday, for example, we delivered for 5 days straight while this program was closed. We started working with Jason's Deli, and I'm sorry their logo didn't get up here. And I want to give a shout out to Jason's Deli in Durham, who put together a box lunch for us at a price of $5, which made it really affordable for us and gave people something nice to eat. We then expanded it into some of the local restaurants up in Granville County, and you see their names on your slide. And I'm trying to do this quickly for you all. The other thing that happens is that you form relationships with these people that you see. In my case, I deliver on Tuesdays and Fridays. My wife comes with me. We have made a lot of friends. And we started a process of doing some interviews to tell some of these people's stories, wrote them up and got them published in the local newspapers. And so we call it the Senior Spotlight. And this was the first one we ever did for Alvin Gates, who was one of our members who's since passed, one of our people that we were delivering to, who's unfortunately passed, but he was a Santa for many of the senior center Christmas programs. So as I say, we are still delivering. I delivered they needed some help this morning, so I delivered this morning. I'll deliver tomorrow morning. We'll deliver on Saturday. Because we're stretching our members a little bit, we reached out to the community, and we've actually been able to recruit 4 volunteers, 4 more volunteers who are helping younger people. Meals on Wheels tends to have older drivers, but these are younger people who have reached out. And so we don't know when we'll stop, but we've been able to deliver to all these people, and we've had just a great time. And it fits right into our core of service above self. So that's my story.
That is a great story. And I think it reminds us, even in the, rural counties, Granville County, all the counties, they're underserved, for that demographic. And for you guys like you said, you're a tiny little Rotary Club, and you're stepping up and you're doing things consecutively days on end just to make sure that, they're being attended to, they're getting, good food, and they're getting nourished. And I think too, in addition to just food, is company. They're being able to socialize and be able to connect with people because they're not able, or they're not leaving their homes. So I think it's more than just meals, it's connecting, and that speaks volumes.
Thank you. I did want to say one other thing, but I guess I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm not qualified to make, well, maybe. I did, let's see if I can make this go away. Oh yeah, here we go. So can I still share the screen? Well, if I can get back there, right? No, I can't figure out how to get back in. Oh, there we are in Zoom.
Yeah, you have to unshare and then start sharing again.
All right, so let's see if that does it. So you all laughed when I said contra dance, because none of you know what it is.
We see what you see.
Ah.
That's awesome.
Ah.
That's awesome.
Sorry about that.
No,
We
that's
got a little
great.
taste.
People would like to know what contra dance is.
I like it. Well, thank you, David. That was great. That was good. You did great. And for you feeling a little nervous on the technology, you totally rocked that out. So that was great.
Thanks.
Yes.
Selena, I did send you that list of Rotary clubs. If anybody is interested in finding out about Rotary in their own area, Selena has a list of all the clubs and their contact information.
Yep, I do. And I will include that in our Who You Met Today email that you guys will get tomorrow. So we'll put those resources out there.
Thank you, everybody. This was great.
Yeah. Is Scott still with us, or I don't see Scott? Okay, it's all good. Scott was going to do some closing remarks. It's just basically thanking each of you for joining us today. The stories, we've got goosebumps and tears and laughs. So we got all the feels for our annual Share the Love. So we really do appreciate you guys so much. And hopefully one of these days we'll get back in person. But until then, I look forward to seeing your faces at our meetings next month. And look for the email tomorrow. All right.
Great.
Thanks all of you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Take care. Thank you so much.
for having me.
Bye.